What's happening, everybody? What's the good word? I hope everybody's well. Tonight, timing is everything in life. Let's change this up a little bit. Let's get see if we can get a better, more for. We get it figured out. Hope all is well. I hope everybody's doing well. We should have some people coming in shortly, but you know what? Like they say, the train got to keep rolling, so we're going to keep rolling. Um, Timing is everything, right, in life. So, we started this, you know, time in the life, not that life, of doing, what they call the A-list security, working in a lot of different venues. The one you see up on the screen is one of those venues, which was considered very high end and still is to this day. Everybody can look it up. I've mentioned the name a million times. Um, I might not mention it tonight, but you could see from the address on it, just due to the publicity and for the Nick, what's happening, my brother, and just for the things I might happen to say tonight. I don't want it to seem like I'm singling out this particular venue. It just happens to be that what I'm going to talk about tonight. Um, I probably wasn't going to talk about. I would have used one of the acts that I worked at this venue, possibly, or I could have used another one, and we will. But what's been going on in the news, and anybody that knows me, I've been talking about. I wanted to maybe do with away with one type of theme show that we do, and maybe add more of a hot topic type thing, um, to where maybe more people will get involved. So it's just not lopsided with all men or all women. I want to try to make everybody a little happy. And the celebrity thing seems like a lot of people like it, but if it can work with something that's hot topic as well at the same time, well, this is the perfect time to do it. And this is definitely a hot topic thing. So let me just get off here and get started, and let me welcome in our crew. Let me first off and say we have a new community friend to our friends and family here, Scotty. Scott, if welcome aboard. I'm so happy you're here. You made it in. I can't wait till we do what we're gonna do, and you'll be up here, and we'll be telling your story, and you'll be telling it, and we'll have our conversation. So if our chat group can welcome Scott to part of our friends and family, and that's what we are here. You know how we all feel about it. We have a special room and group where I don't need to repeat it, but the no bullshit allowed and no drama allowed, no disrespect. You're not going to disrespect anybody in the chat or anybody that happens to be up on the floor. If you come in and do that, for anybody that happens to be watching in the weeds, you're all welcome. We want you to come in and be part of this. But if you can't control, you know, your being respectful, then this is definitely not the channel for you to be in. And, you can take it elsewhere, and that's okay. We don't need the view. We'll be all right. We'll survive. With that being said, Davey T, what's happening? Nick, my man, what's up? My brother, OG Ruby, thank you for coming in. I might have confused a lot of people with putting off yesterday's show, but we have today. I just switched it around. Today will be about the hot topic, what's going on, and what I could add from the security side of it, and what I saw. Certain things I was around, I'll share, which works. That's why I said it'll work tonight. But I wanted to try to gather. It's not normal for me. Everything is off the top of my head all the time. But we just, I wanted another extra day to try to, because go back and try to remember some things. And I have some things I'd like to share besides this mess. And I'm going to get into it. I'm not going to hold my tongue like I try never to do. So if people have an issue with that, which I know our group doesn't, I'll be as respectful as possible. But if something slips out that's not very nice, understand why I'm saying it. And I know you guys will. So, Roy, awesome, my brother, all the way from the other side. Thank you for coming in, man, at this time. Amazing. Davey T, OG Ruby, Nick, Sally Boy, what's happening? Scotty, once again, welcome, my brother. Happy you're here. Very happy you're here. Benny, what's up? And we'll see how it goes. If we get more full or not, we expect, Mikey M, what's happening, Mikey? Always good to see you. Always good to see you here. It's always a pleasure. So I was going to try to hold up. I actually this was a little important to me. I mean, they're all important. Anything we discuss, I could be talking about football, and to me it's important. But some things obviously in life are take precedence. And again with the glasses, so I'm going to take them off. Now I'm going to leave them on. I'll be a good boy. I'll leave them on time. All right. This way I could try to coincide with the chat. So some things take precedence in life and are more serious, obviously, than others. And I want Maureen. Always great to see you, Maureen. You know that. Thank you for coming in. So I'm glad people start to come in. Because Joe Town Jack, what's up, my brother? Pleasure to have you. Always, always. If at any point you guys know me, if I seem like I'm ignoring the chat, that's not the case. You know that. I'm just getting wrapped up in what I'm going to talk about. So let's just do it. Whoever comes in, they'll catch it. As if they got to go back, they will. At the end, if I wrap this up, if this wraps up early or we get through it, anything you want to shoot the breeze about what I might share here, I'll stick around and we could rap about anything. That being said, here we go. So I had to go back because the years I worked a lot of these venues, especially this one you see behind us. Now what I'm going to do is I'll take us inside the venue because I always want people to see the venue. And now we'll go inside that same building. Now we're inside. Okay. A little pixelated, but we're inside. All right. So now we're inside the building. So here we go. All right. So back in the day, so I probably started working for them. I think I might have said this before. Sometime in 2005, it just happened to work because that's when I started to work in the building right across the street, which was a hotel. So if anybody wants to look up where that hotel is, it's very simple. You just look up where their main building was on 42nd Street, and you'll be able to see which hotel was right across the street. The reason why I'm not telling you the name of that hotel is because they don't deserve to have their name said. But for curiosity, please look it up. You'll see how easy it was for me to get there right after one shift ended to another. And this is what fathers do when you have bills to pay, right? That's what men do. That's what we're supposed to do. Now let's get into this. So I said in the last, the first one actually, Celebrity Series we called it. A lot of their, strictly their concert series were at the Wall Street location. Call it whatever you want, luck. They put me there, whatever, for whatever reason, I seem to always work 99% of the concert series. Now, My objective was to come on here and always strictly just talk about some of the good acts, some of the not so great acts, and just talk about some of the things that would go on from an act standpoint. Like last week, we talked about Snoop Dogg and the Pussycat Dolls, and how that turned out, and some people, some things that went on during that event. Well, with these recent headlines, I felt more of a need to come on here. Yes, it can blend in with the security end of it, but it will also highlight with this disaster of what's playing out now with this. Let me get his name right. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Big Brother Love, Sean Combs. So, we find a common trend with a lot of these uh, egomaniacs and creeps. They have many names for themselves. I said it, creeps. And that's saying it nicely. Now, what could I add to what's already been said? And allegedly he's being accused with. Um, there's no question. I can't say I've seen him or been a part of anything he's being accused of. But what I can tell you this, common sense, or just you didn't have to work in the places that I worked at and watch his behavior and some others I'm going to mention, just to see an attitude of entitlement. And that could come from, just being so rich and wealthy or just being a douche. Um, and there's a lot I'm going to share tonight of the regulars that would come to this venue. Like I said, I'm not going to keep repeating their name because I don't want it to be that I'm attacking them. I'm not. But when something happens on when you entertain certain groups of people, when the shit hits the fan, as they say, people run from you. That's what happens. That's what happens in lots of walks of life. As soon as you get into some sort of trouble, this is very serious. It could be any kind of trouble. People will distance themselves from you. Now, when you get something like this, they run. So all the elites that you thought were your buddies, um, if they weren't part of what you were doing, and even if they were, they're running for the hills right now. And we'll see over the next, I'm going to guess, 2, 3 weeks, there'll be a lot more arrests made. There'll be people, they'll be singing so much, they'll have to beat the shit out of them for them to shut up, trying to save their own asses. Now, let me talk about some of the regulars that I would see. And when I say regulars, I mean regulars. And you will be able to, some of the names I'm going to mention, you will be able to connect the dots yourself. Meaning, I'm not giving you a homework assignment or being lazy about it. I want you to go ahead and try to connect the dots. You won't have to try hard to see why they were regulars at the venue, right? Um, 55 Wall Street, right? That's the address. 42nd and Park Avenue was the other building, and many others. They have 4 or 5 locations in New York City. So, where do you begin? All right. So, Diddy, we'll call him for now, besides what's going on today, back in, I'm going to say 06, 07, possibly 08, I was with them. I did security from them from anywhere from 05 to about 09, I would have to guess. And I would pick and choose how many days a week I did with them, and we went through all that. Now, let's get into some of the regulars. Tonight, we're going to talk about the regulars who would be at these events. And I've already stated, for those that missed, strictly the power brokers of Hollywood, Wall Street, big money, the music industry. If you weren't somebody that was high up in whichever walk of life you were coming from, meaning you aren't high up in the brokerage end of the money end, if you weren't a big shot with Deutsche Bank or one of the big ones, you weren't invited to these events. And you paid. You paid too, but you had to be invited to pay. If you weren't a power broker in Hollywood, I'll get to one of the big names who was a regular. I mean, a regular. And you'll be able to do a lot of homework on how close he was with this establishment and ownership. Um, hey, shit, I was at Harvey Weinstein, a regular. Diddy, I cannot tell you he was a regular, but I will tell you this. I've seen him on probably more than a few occasions. Never had no conversation with him at all, zero. Um, but behave. I don't want to, piss on somebody just to piss on them because now's the time to do it. But things, again, I said it. What's done in the dark will be exposed in the light. And that's a fact. Diddy would only come to certain events. Like I'm trying to remember. I remember, and I'll get into her concert one day, or her show. I remember him being with, I believe, with Alicia Keys. He would came to a couple of hip hop acts. I don't believe he was at the Snoop show that I can remember. I'm trying to paint a picture here. I want you to try to understand something. I'm going to say some things that um, I would have loved to have told this one particular person, uh, Mr. Weinstein, and not knowing what would happen 15 years or so later with him. I forget when he exactly, the hammer dropped on him and everything got exposed with him. So that all came to the light. And there's a common theme, it seems to be, you know, a lot of people think, it's conspiracy theory, Hollywood, this, that. I'm not into that. But when facts are facts, you can take away the theory. And now we're talking about facts. So a lot of us, maybe we liked the music. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. I'm speaking about Diddy now. But facts are facts. And it's all coming out. Um, it's all true. Whoever doesn't want to believe it, I'm sorry. It's going to come out that it's all true. He's trying to save his ass. And his buddy Jay-Z will go down with him. And I'm going to tell you a little something about. So I had no direct dealings with Diddy. I want to try to stay on track here. What I knew about Harvey Weinstein is this. Harvey Weinstein was there often. Harvey Weinstein also lived in what was called the condominiums, which were right above or next to 55 Wall, which is where all the shows went on. He was also had businesses with the owners of this building I'm talking about. And we all know who the company is. I just don't want to that just keep singling them out. It's public knowledge. You can read it on it about the different businesses. They also had he had a joint venture with this building here, and the name of that club was called Socialista. It was supposed to be the next big trendy thing back in the day. Well, he was direct partners with Giuseppe in this club. Mickey Rourke was a regular. There was a billionaire. I think his name was Ron Perlman. He was a regular. But I want to tell you a little something about Harvey Weinstein. Nothing that's earth shattering about uh, women or anything like that. That came out later on in life. But my wife knows if I came home, she would always ask me, who's there tonight or who would whatever. How was the event? And I would always come home with something, good, bad, or indifferent. That's just who I am. Hey, you know what surprised me? This guy was a decent guy. Or I got to tell you, what up? And this brings me to Harvey Weinstein. What I noticed about Harvey Weinstein, and I could say not noticed, witnessed, again, not uh, the S word related, just not a nice person. When I mean not a nice person, everybody could have a bad day, right? Maybe you have a bad day, so maybe you come off a little arrogant or sarcastic. No, I'm talking about somebody that is nasty, foul mouth in front of women, in front of you got to remember, only certain people were allowed in. I mean, I keep saying it. Only the power brokers of whatever industry were allowed in. Okay. It's also making me realize now that I asked you guys last week if anybody could find any footage of any concert series that I work or talk about, it would be amazing because now I understand maybe why there was no cameras inside. But yet outside, you had the paparazzi, the red carpet pictures, all beautiful. Not that I saw anything going on inside. I never said I did. But just maybe some of those people didn't want to be known to be inside. Whatever. I don't know. That would be conspiracy. But it is odd. There's no footage of no concert I ever worked in. I worked a lot of them. A lot of them. Maybe it was just their policy. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Weinstein. This is not opinion. Well, I guess it is opinion, but it's factual as far as what I saw of him and how he spoke to people intimately, as close as I am to this computer screen, which is about 5 feet, 4 feet. I was to him at this particular moment. So when you're handling these events, you'll go. I've said this. You'll go from walking people from the red carpet to now it's time to get inside. Somebody goes to the door, and then you, in a lot of cases, I would take the stage, in front of the stage, or to the right or left, whatever. But as you're doing that, you're walking by all the tables full of Hollywood's finest, the music industry's finest, politicians, whoever. So I hear this like whiny, really whiny, uh, person, nasty, foul mouth. And quite honestly, I look to the right and there he is. And I had seen him outside, but honestly, I don't even know if I knew who he was back then. Sure, people talk, oh, that's how, to me, who? That's the truth. I didn't know. I really didn't. Then, of course, people tell you, oh, he made this movie, that movie, the big power, whatever. So I hear him cursing and just talking down to people. I mean, we're talking, you know, crowded room, and it's just a real like somebody honestly you would want to just keep slapping until he shut up. That's how disrespectful his mouth was, and he was doing it in front of a whole bunch of women. And you got to remember, there's a lot of I told you there a lot of models, a lot of groupie type stuff. I mean, I say groupie, they cling on to these rich dudes and they don't even care about them. They're only there for the show or the money or whatever. I don't even care, whatever. But about him, just a real nasty. I don't know if there's a dirty, dirty looking, uh, real in Italian we say skeevy looking. As you could see in my face, he made me sick. He made me sick by the way he talked to people. And I'm talking about not only just how he talked in front of people, in front of women, in front of other wealthy people. That's how powerful he was and he felt he was. And we would later find out who he truly was. Um, but he always had, I can remember, besides the Cipriani staff, oh, I said it. Besides, I knew I'd mess up somewhere. And you know what? Everybody knows I work for them anyway, so it is what it is. I just didn't want them. If anybody comes across us, but I'm going after them because I'm really not. I'm not going after anybody. I'm telling a story of facts, or my opinion on who I believe these people are. Um, so he would be just this nasty, creepy guy, and he would talk to not only whoever was around him. It seemed like he was putting on a show, but it really was not a show. This is who this guy was. Just a nasty, cranky, dirty, sleazy son of a bitch. Really. Who was, honestly, they probably took his lunch money as a kid. He was bitter at something. He's just that bitter guy. Davey, you know what I'm saying? He's just that bitter, creepy guy that he became a billionaire, so it's time to treat everybody like shit. So he had a personal assistant. I'll never forget it. And he is screaming at this grown man. I'll never forget. His name was Carlos. I did not know him at all. But I remember just him screaming at him in front of. Now it's loud, but he's putting on a show for whichever tables were in close proximity. And again, I'm right there. I'm past this table now. But of course, Mister Sleazebag always sat wherever he wanted. In this particular case, he wasn't too far from the stage. So I heard a lot of his nonsense. And the way he talked to this man, grown man, boy, I'll tell you had to have a lot of restraint, or you just really needed that job. And you had to, I guess he had to put up with it. I'm not knocking him for that. That was his choice. But I got to tell you, you had to listen to this man talk to somebody like I didn't work for him, and it bothered me. Like, like really, like I would, like it really bothered me. Like, so my wife remembers me telling her all those years ago. What, we're in 24? I don't even know. What, 17 years ago? Maybe if it's '07 back then. I'm guessing. I'm thinking it's '07. I remember telling her what a creep he was then, not knowing what would happen later on. So when all that stuff happened with him, it just made sense by the way he was acting, talking. Some of the models want to hang all over him. And again, I cannot say I saw any of that. It wasn't about that. It was about just his behavior. You could tell a lot by a man or woman by their behavior. You can. I'm not special. Just the more you're around people, you get a good read on people. He was that guy. He was that guy. So when all that shit came out about him, it didn't surprise me. Let's just say it didn't shock me at all. Now, I'll talk about some other regulars. He's the first one I want to just set the table on. Regular, dirtbag, sleazeball. Treated him like he was a king. Like you got to see people bow to this person, like if he was God Almighty. Horrific. There's only one, and it's not him. He's where he's supposed to be right now. He's above. There's only one, and it wasn't Harvey Weinstein. Now, again, I'll tell you about Diddy. Didn't have many dealings with him. I had no dealings with him personally, but like I said, he only came to a couple events. Now, I believe at that time he was in New York. All his headquarters were always in New York for a long time. I don't know if they still are. Again, not knowing all these things would later come out about him. But all these things that came out about him, man, and this is for everybody, for our crew, for people watching. Don't just brush everything off as, oh, it's conspiracy theory. This could never happen. No, this shit happens. It happens regularly. Look, I'm going to get into some things tonight that if you haven't heard already, you just follow, like they always say, follow the money, follow the trail, and it'll lead you to something. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Do your homework. Do your homework. This guy, and you know what? He's going to take everybody down with him. That's part of it. I would not be surprised if this thing gets as big as the Epstein thing did, because there's going to be more people that are involved in this as they start giving each other up and ratting each other out. And the tough guy act goes way out the window. It's been gone already. Okay? And it's just a matter of what names are they going to let us see. That's really what it's going to come down to. Who do they want to expose? That's what it'll come down to. So, I'm going to tell you a little something about Damon Dash. Damon Dash, if anybody doesn't know, I'm only going to explain it because I'm going to assume nobody doesn't know. We're going to get to everybody. I mean it. I feel this is important that we need to talk about it. And I'm only sharing some things that I know, and then we could all talk about what's going on. So Damon Dash, when I first got to Cipriani, was well loved. He was treated like gold. He was treated A-lister. Well, as my time went on, I noticed Damon Dash was starting to be treated a little different. Not understanding what was going on or caring about what was going on with Rockaware and Rockefeller Records. That Jay-Z was basically backdooring him, screwing him out of his record company and Rockaware. Now, I believe they came to some agreement, but Dame got screwed. Now, Damon Dash, I just told you, was a regular. They loved him. When I say they loved him, Damon Dash was a regular dude. He would see security outside. He knew we were there for them, for him, or anybody else. So from a security standpoint, that's our job. What I can remember of Damon Dash, he was the kind of guy, yo, what's up, dude? What's up, my dude? Just a regular guy. What's up, player? It's just a regular guy. So when I started to observe 6 months, a year down the road, now all of a sudden Dame is being treated differently. He's not on the list. There was no list. He just walked in. Dame never had to be on a list. He walked in. He belonged there. He was a regular. Like I said, they were regulars. But maybe Diddy, this is total conspiracy now. Maybe Diddy and Jay-Z's relationship, as we know, they're both going to go down together. Trust me. Jay-Z is panicked right now if he's not already picked up, because he's going to be implicated in a lot of these trafficking and every other bad, horrific word you could imagine. Why do you think Homeland Security is involved? They only get involved when they're trying to recover information that they already know is there. Come on. How long do people think you think this just started? They've been sitting on this guy for 10 years. And it got deeper and deeper. But I won't go all into that, because I know some of it to be facts from what I read. Deep dive. There's not much I read about that deeply outside of football. That's the truth. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you a little bit more tonight, from what I seen as people and how deep this thing really goes. So Jay-Z and Diddy, for anybody that doesn't know, and I'm sure by now everybody's caught up, they became real tight. And they were involved in a lot of things together. So they both knew each other, the same circle, same behavior type stuff. A lot of it they were involved in at times and at different times. They were doing their own things, but the same thing. So that old saying, birds of a feather fly together, well, that's true. Well, somehow Damon Dash, the best thing that ever happened to him was being removed from that. Um, so Damon, I saw him start to get treated like he was a stranger. I started to be told by people, he drinks too much, he's a drunk. All of a sudden, well, this guy's the greatest guy in the world 8 months ago. Now he's a drunk and he's no good. You're not realizing or thinking about all the things that they will put out there about you, the media, the place you might be working for, high profile, to set a tone so you as security will now treat him the way your bosses are telling you to treat him. Don't allow him in. Look at him, he's a mess. They create the narrative. Anything I knew about Damon Dash for a whole year before, or 10 months, whatever it was, he was nothing but a gentleman that was actually classy, a lot classier than the ones that had the billions. And this is going through a time when he was having everything he built being stolen from him. Now, I'm sure, somebody will say, nothing was stolen from him. I'm not here to argue that. He went through his own shit with Jay-Z. And that's Damon Dash, who was a regular. And he had his own dealings with Cipriani, Jay-Z, that I'm sure he's going to have some things to say that will come out. I don't know if it'll have anything to do with the S trafficking stuff. But I'm sure he's waited a long time to watch Jay-Z fall after what happened to him in his business and the things he built. And then I'm glad for him that he reinvented himself and was able to survive. Exactly, Cinnamon. They basically shunned him. Exactly. That is the word. And you would watch this and, you're not aware of what's going on business-wise. At least I wasn't, with whether it be the hip-hop community or I'm there to work. I'm there to do whatever I had to do. You know what I mean? Or whether it's who Harvey Weinstein is, outside of him being a sloppy slob that talked reckless with his mouth to everyone, treated people like shit, talked to everybody like they were garbage, straight garbage. I'm not that I'm special. I'm glad he never spoke to anybody in security like that, because I worked with a bunch of wild Turkish guys. They were all from Turkey, all security that ran Cipriani. And I've had to ask around. They'll tell you they were all from Turkey. Some of the toughest guys I have ever met in my life. I would look. Size has nothing to really do with anything when it comes to defending yourself. It truly doesn't. It just sometimes you could be stronger, and that's really where it ends. If you don't have um, the ability to defend yourself, it really don't mean anything. That's the truth. Or if you don't have the heart to defend yourself, size doesn't really mean anything. But I'll tell you this: not only they were big and strong dudes, they had a lot of heart, and they knew how to defend themselves. Um, and I was one of the smaller guys in the group. I'm not a small. I wouldn't say I'm a small guy. Um, you know, I don't know, six back then. I mean, I was always 6'2", maybe 235, 240 in good shape. I was tiny. I was small, and so we were a strong group. Meaning we all had each other's back. So I'm glad, in a sense, that Mr. Weinstein, sleazeball, never got crooked with his mouth with us. Now, I'm not saying he knew better to do that. I'm just saying he didn't do that. Maybe I don't know. For whatever reason, he didn't. He talked to everybody else like that, especially his staff, people that were with him, that he wanted to let everybody know, these are my golfers. Go do this. Go do that. That's him. That's just with Damon Dash. That's Diddy. Come and go. People would bow to him. It was a regular thing. He wasn't always there, but he was there, on a few occasions that I was there. And, I can't say that I've ever seen any odd behavior from him. I didn't stare at him enough. I didn't look at him enough. I didn't stare at any of them. But when you start to add up the things that I did see between Damon, how he got shunned, the relationship with Jay-Z collapses, Diddy and him get very tight in business. It just, it adds up, guys. It doesn't add up to me or anybody saying they would know that he would go on to be this monster. But if I'm being fully transparent, I am not surprised. One bit. Just like I was not surprised when that disgusting thing of he's not even a man, that slob is where he is. And who knows where he is? That's the truth. Who knows? But when he got caught up in all his stuff. But this thing is going to get bigger, much bigger than what it is now. They're all going to give each other up. These are some of the worst. I don't want to make it sound like any crime is a good crime. But again, the investigation that I got myself hemmed up with, thank an organized crime case, was a 32-month investigation. Okay. So when they came and got me with organized crime stuff, not saying any of it's good, there was maybe 10, 12, seemed like a whole bunch. It was really 10 or 12. It came for me. Okay? You saw, and it wasn't Homeland Security, it was Organized Crime Bureau from the state. When you saw that show of force yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, at his residence simultaneously, and again, it's Homeland Security, they're looking for two things. As if I'm going to assume that nobody's, really read up on it or really understands when Homeland Security gets involved. They get involved when the Southern District of New York asked them to get involved. It's all different types. You get DEA and so forth and so forth, right? ATF, Organized Crime Bureau, and now Homeland Security, which are some of the highest trained branches of police force, if that's, in our country. Homeland Security is very highly trained, more so than some of your, more so than SWAT, period. When Homeland Security comes for you, they're looking for stuff that they already know is there, the tapes, the videos, that information they already had. Somebody from 2000, they've been investigating him since 2013. I was reading an affidavit today on a guy was talking about how far back. It was a federal prosecutor. His son had a show, and he brought his father in, and he was just talking about, well, why would they come that heavy? And he laid it out. They only come that heavy when they want to show force, let everybody know, get back. They're letting you know, stand back. They're looking for something in particular because they've been told what's there. They already knew what was there. They already had plenty on him. So when they come, They got you already, right? They're just looking to add more and more. You're going to give them more. What they did is just my opinion. Maybe it'll make sense to some. Maybe it won't. They arrested his two adult sons and his two top assistants and let him go. Why? Why do you think that is? Right? They did that. They took his phone and they let him go. They had everything they needed. They wanted him to think about his two sons and his two top assistants. What are they saying? What are they saying? They just want him to think. They want him to sweat because the game is over. It's not officially over, but the game is over. The charade is over. At least the charade is over. That part of it. So he doesn't want his son sitting there. One of his sons, they say, is complicit in some of these horrific things that we're going to find out. I want everybody. Listen. Don't look. All I can do is this. This is a hot topic, and it bothered me because I'd be around some of these creeps and not know who they were in life, who they would turn out to be, or what they were doing back then. Because really, the history, yeah, they were doing it back then too. You just didn't know it. Think about Usher, 13-year-old boy, right? That's what he was at the time. 13 years old. L.A. Reid, who was a music executive, for anybody that doesn't know, decides that he's going to have a 13-year-old boy be mentored by Mr. Puff himself. So this 13-year-old boy's parents send him from Atlanta to New York, right? That's totally normal, right? To let your 13-year-old, because they want him to be a star, right? So whatever it takes. I want you to listen, if you can, I wish I could pull it up now, to the lyrics to that song that Usher made. I need a girl, I think it's called. And and if you slow it down and listen to the lyrics, it talks about truly their relationship. You were more than my girlfriend. We were like brothers. Ooh, all right, let's stop it right there. Since when do girlfriends become like brothers? We used to wrestle under covers. If you go back to some of his interviews, you could see him in an interview with Usher as a kid, and he's got him in like a half a headlock. He's like, yeah, we fight over frosted flakes, and we would always be wrestling. Guys, don't take my word for it. They let you know in lyrics what's going on. Look what's happening. We were like girlfriends, but we were more than that. We were like brothers. I need a girl tonight. You guys knew the song. I'm not going to sing it. I can't sing, right? And we used to wrestle under covers. It's in the same verse. It was one of his biggest hits, if not Usher's first hit. Then what happens? Everything that's perpetrated on Usher gets perpetrated onto others, and so forth and so on. So you could, and I'm not here to, I don't know, can't accuse, but we're going to find out how deep this really goes. You are a victim, then you victimize. That's how it seems to work, right? And it seems to be that it was running rampant in the hip hop culture, no different than the guy that hung himself, that island, no different than that. It's just a matter of how big it's going to get. So don't be shocked. and how some of the names are going to start to fall. I pulled this up because I want you to see and listen to a little bit of this. They found today, yes, it's grooming at its finest, and I can get into a lot more names, but I want you guys truly. It's sick. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's to me, I know crime is crime, and it's all bad. I get it. I understand it. But yes, there is a big difference, in my opinion, than not paying your taxes 1 year or two, fuck it, or five, or then taking the innocence of a young person. Okay? Tell us the names, G. I gave you the creep. Sleazeball was Harvey Weinstein. I told you about Dash with Diddy. I can tell you 1,000,000%. Um, he was not. I never seen him have any odd behavior. Everybody loved him. He was a regular. Mickey Rourke, a regular. Um, no fanboy shit here. He was a gentleman. You know. So if we go back to, let's say, 2007, 8, I was there for a 4 year period. You know, you start thinking about the ages. Models, whatever word was used. You know, followed them everywhere. All right. So you know, Mickey Rourke was nothing but a stand-up guy with me and some others. I've never seen any odd behavior out of him. The women loved him. That's the truth. I don't know. I never asked for their birth certificates. I never saw anything that looked crazy. I did see, I talked there is something I wasn't happy about one night that I did see, not from Mickey. I walked out of the door one night. I said I wouldn't say it. Um, and I walked out of the front door one night in the middle of a fundraiser or somebody was singing. I don't know. It was a big event going on. Obviously, they were all big, and everybody in Hollywood was there. And I know people are going to say, you can't leave it like this. You got to tell us who it was. And maybe I will. It's not to keep you guys hanging. Maybe I'll tell you personally. I just, it deserves to be told. I will say it, what I saw. And it wasn't nothing like a sexual abuse thing because I would have got involved. I wouldn't give a shit. That guy, I would have hurt that man. I'm serious. So I walk out the door and I see definitely somebody in their 50s, or at least look that way, late 40s. I don't know. We'd have to go back in time and figure out how old the person is now to then. It's probably '07, '08 again, maybe '06 in that frame. And I see him, and I believe I think, it's not my business. He's married at the time or anything like that. That's the first thing from my mind. I'll never forget running. By the time I got home, 4 in the morning, whatever it was, I always got home late. I'll never forget being disgusted. My wife saying, "Well, what happened tonight? What'd you see tonight?" Because I used to tell her, you don't know, just whether it was just bad acts or just dealing with their attitudes and how they treated people. It made you sick. It really did. But this night, I walked out the door, middle of the party's going on, and I see what appears to be a middle-aged adult. What's middle-aged? Well, you live to 80, you're middle-aged at 40, right? It could be relative. If you live to 150, you're middle-aged. You know what I mean? To me, he looked like he was in his 40s, mid 40s probably. late. And to me, the girl he was making out with, I wasn't too good, with ages. I could tell you this: she wasn't 17. She wasn't 17. She wasn't American. She didn't speak English, and it made me sick. And he was only kissing her. It made me sick. Maybe because I have a daughter. Maybe because there's just some things to me and a lot of people in this chat that would make you guys sick too. I know you want to know who it is. The reason why I'm not saying it in this setting is because I'm not worried about anything of slanderous remarks. It's the truth. It's what I saw, and so it was a kiss. But that kiss was, to no question in my mind, to a young lady that was not of age. Okay, um, and I immediately made eye contact because I turned, and boom, it was right there to my right. So when I turn to my right and I see it, I'm like, it just hit home right away, you know. Um, and it made me disgusted right away. Like, honestly, I don't want to. I really wanted to pick him. I wanted to grab him and throw him down. There was a lot of steps that would lead up. If you look at the front picture, probably about 15 steps, maybe 20. I wanted to throw him right down the stairs and then run after him and throw him as far as I could again. And then run after him. You get the picture. But how could I know that, somebody might be saying, or it's just a kiss. Now she was underage, man. And it bothered me, and I went home with it. And I prayed that nothing else happened that evening. But as we've learned in Hollywood, it seems to be normal. I knew, Cinnamon. I screwed that up though, by the way. I'm trying to, make your I you didn't hear me say he was, Maddie. At no time did you ever hear me say he was. He was a cool dude. From what I'd seen of Mickey, talking to Mickey, absolutely not. He was one of the few that was a regular that didn't act like a weirdo, that didn't act in any sort of weird way. He was just a party animal. That's a fact. And every model that used to come to that place, and then the place after hours that they would go to another place called Socialista, and there were others, man, they would all follow. I'm talking about women though, not young kids. So that's why I say I have nothing, nothing bad to say about him. It's not because if he was a cool dude and I saw that shit, he wouldn't be a cool dude with me anymore. In my mind, and I would have not hesitate 1 minute to tell you that somebody that you think is a cool dude is a piece of garbage. It's just my opinion, but it's based off of behavior. Now, I get it. Some people say, how could you know, behavior? You're not a profiler of this or that. You're right, I'm not. But the more you work with people and see different things, and I lived another life, a different life in the street, you get to learn a lot about behaviors. Um, no, we'll get to it now. I want you guys to see this, if you didn't see it. This guy's got a channel. It's about this Diddy thing, and then I'm going to get to the questions. They found tunnels. Did you guys know that they found tunnels under Diddy's house today? And what the common theme with these S traffickers are? The other guy that's doing time right now, I think he got 30 years, the guy from Chicago. I Believe I Could Fly guy. Remember that song? He got 30 years. They found a lot of doorways. They didn't find tunnels, but they had a lot of trap doors and stuff like that. Well, under Diddy's house, This might bother some people. You saw it on TikTok, Ruby. Good. I'm gonna play it for some. If guys want to hear the clip from this other guy's channel, amazing what he got from wherever he got it, and it's fact. Architectural prints show it, and he lays it out. They're tunnels that ran from under Diddy's house. Now, I'm sure he did not have them built. Maybe they were there already. And in the 70s, they were connected to the Playboy Mansion. I'm going to tell you who else's houses those tunnels were connected to from the Playboy Mansion back in the day. I'm not saying they were involved today because it's a different world than the world that Puff Scumbag Diddy lives in. But those tunnels were connected to Kirk Douglas's house, Warren Beatty's house, James Caan's house, Jack Nicholson's house, and there might be one other. So I bring you this. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to pull it up right now.
This is crazy. According to this story on the Playboy secret tunnel,
you and Jack Nicholson.
Hold on, I meant to pause it. All right. According to this story on Playboy, secret tunnels running from the Playboy Mansion to the homes of several nearby celebrities were constructed. The tunnels went beneath the Los Angeles Country Club to the homes of Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, Kirk Douglas, and James Caan. This is crazy.
I want you to see the graph of the Gay Mafia. Watch it.
Passageway into the Playboy Mansion.
That's Warren Beatty denying. Watch.
Now look at his face. Look at his face.
Stop going stupid.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Great work this guy did. Let's let go.
Look how he's looking.
Great work.
Yo.
I'm going to give you something about Biggie in a minute.
No. Is that true?
Well, I think the story was printed that there was a tunnel.
Playboy.com staff members released some blueprints that they found a few years ago that show underneath the Playboy Mansion is a series of tunnels that were constructed to link Hugh Hefner's world-famous domicile to the homes of Jack Nicholson, James Caan, Kirk Douglas, and Warren Beatty. The blueprints which show...
So right here, let's just discuss this. I just want y'all to think about this. Shout out to Boston. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to Los Angeles. Shout out to New Jersey. Shout out to Indiana. I want y'all to think about this. So, why do y'all think
Ruby, stop on stupid.
Were built underground?
Amen. Exposing
coming from the Playboy Mansion, out of all places.
Yep.
Why? This is not trafficking. Okay, that is not the word in this particular situation. The tunnels can actually be used for that, but in this particular moment we're talking about, from the Playboy Mansion standpoint, this is not trafficking. Trafficking, to a certain degree, because there's a lot of different branches of it, but trafficking is when you transport a human or a substance across state lines. So I just want to clear that up. Taking somebody from the Playboy Mansion down through a tunnel to Jack Nicholson's or whoever else's house, that is not trafficking. That is just going from one part of the neighborhood to another part of the neighborhood, just underground. I don't think underground has anything to do with trafficking. Trafficking has a lot to do with state lines. All right. So I just want to clear that up. But
if
P.Diddy is being investigated.
Here's what I want you to see. Watch this.
Okay, so right here at the top it says David Jeffen. Under it says Jimmy Iovine, Clive Davis,
The
Rick
Gay
Rubin,
Mafia. Look at this.
Russell Simmons. Over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
is
Russell Simmons
Rockefeller
was a
Records,
regular at
Sean
Cipriani all the
Combs,
time, and his wife Nora Lee.
Eminem,
That was just a
Lear
beard. Look up
Cohen,
what beard means.
and at the
No,
top it says
make believe life.
Universal Music Group. So
Music.
I'm just trying to
Russell
make
Simmons.
sure everybody put a 1 in the chat if y'all can see
Pure,
this with no
100%
problem. So over
like
here it
women.
says
I can tell you that
Atlantic
just from
and Rockefeller Records. So it looks like there's a connection from Atlantic up to Warner Music Group, over to David Green, down to Jimmy Iovine, and then also Clive Davis. Clive Davis is connected to Sean Combs, and Jimmy Iovine is connected to Eminem, and Rick Rubin is connected to Sean Combs and Rockefeller Records. Rick Rubin either produced or engineered a lot of Jay-Z's music. And then Russell Simmons is connected to Sean Combs and Rockefeller connections. Human trafficking is recruitment. Hold on, real quick. All right, so John Hilton says, real quick, John Hilton.
What I want to say is this, guys. I want to ask you a question. Let's think about this. Tommy Mottola is the devil. You're right. What I want to say is this. Let's think about this. Let's go through all the artists that are no longer here because for one reason or another, Puffy, Diddy, whatever word we're going to use for him, lowlife, garbage pail, whatever comes to mind, are no longer here. Do you really think they don't have that on him? You think it's just the S trafficking they're going to go grab him with? Nah. He's got to answer for Tupac. Keefy D's giving that information. He's got to answer for Biggie. He's got to answer for Heavy D. He's got to answer for Craig Mack. He's got to answer for Kim Porter. He's got to answer for his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf. I forget his last name. Ward, I believe. I forget. There's at least 8. So they weren't only looking. They want to know where the bodies are. They want a lot. Somebody knows where they are. These people all mysteriously died. Biggie got shot. Tupac got shot. We know that. Kim Porter, discrepancy from the medical examiner. Heavy D, same. Craig Mack, same. All they couldn't explain their deaths. Who said heart attack? Who said pneumonia? They couldn't explain them. It's all going to come out. It all comes out. He knew his ex-wife, Kim Porter, was in the middle of writing a document. She was giving it all up. She had to go. Listen, just pay attention to this story. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and names that you would never expect. This goes much, much farther than him. They want the people above him. Yeah, they want him, and they want everybody else that Cuba Gooding Jr., creep, lowlife. He's going down. He's going down. Don't take my word for it. Just sit back and watch. Watch them go to where they deserve to go. Watch. Anybody who participated, transported, arranged, made phone calls for, you are part of it. No different than if back when I was in the life and somebody asked me to dig a hole, that would make me complicit to a murder. Nobody ever asked me to dig a hole. I'm using that as a hypothetical. You're an accessory. So anybody who played any part in this stuff, we're not even talking about the bodies. Nobody finds it odd he's the only man standing. Andre Harrell, his mentor, gets fired. He was the face of, I think, Uptown Records. His intern was Diddy. An intern. The next day becomes the president of a new company called Bad Boy Entertainment, supported by Mr. Clive Davis himself. And everybody knows what you had to do to Clive. Don't listen to me. Follow the trail. Follow the trail. It was a hot topic. I wanted to share a little bit about the creepiness of the Weinsteins of the world. I could not say outside of that I've seen him a few times. Had no dealings with him. Very cliquey. But I can't say I witnessed anything with him or Weinstein, from that matter, outside of just being nasty and a foul mouth and a piece of shit. Diddy just had the aura of I'm here, I've arrived, so everybody would run to him about it, whatever. But don't be surprised, I just wanted to share this stuff. If there's anything you guys want to, I know you just want to know who was kissing that what appeared to be a young man. Makes me sick. And he was only kissing her, and I don't give a shit that he was only kissing her. Now I understand. That's why I said, I guess I get it now. Why that? Not that anything was going on, but when these shows were going on, it's dark. I told you a lot of women. I told you in the Snoop show, the Snoop concert, they got all these dudes just like suckers. Remember I said last week, they're like suckers. These girls are like trying to lick this guy's face and all over him, and they're just like. Ooh. But now if you look back on it, they didn't have cameras in there for a reason. I'm sure nobody was allowed to film. I realize it now because I was trying to get you guys some good footage of like some of the shows, not from a standpoint of looking for anything, because we're going to talk about shows that were Duran, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, some fabulous shows, of some great music, great times. It wasn't about looking for things, but now that you look back at it, you can't come away with anything but thinking there was dirt. There was shit going on. Right? I told you how Damon Dash was treated. He went from being highly thought of in there to being shunned. Why? Because Diddy came around and became Jay's partner silently? Look, man, I'm just telling you guys, this thing is bigger than what we know. It's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than this. This one, except this time it's the music industry. So you take the music industry, the Hollywood, and the other guy that hung himself thing, and you have a big thing worldwide. I've said enough. If anybody's got anything, I hope whoever stayed in here for the chat, it might not be everybody's kind of thing, but I felt, to me, maybe it was something people, yep, real deal, yep, Gene Real, no doubt. He's been told 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I used to listen to him and believe every word he said. I believed every word he said, because he, not only was he with him daily, I understood it from another perspective. I understood it. I totally understood it. I totally understood everything Gene said. And he's still saying it to this day. Jaguar Wright, I believed her from day one. Everything Jaguar Wright said 4 years ago, everybody's, oh, she's nuts, she's crazy. It's all true. And now she's being proven, oh, she's not crazy no more. She's not nuts, right? But the woke mob don't want you to hear it. They don't want to hear it. The woke mob don't want to hear it. So that's what I'm saying. I know I said what I said. I stand by what I said. I didn't say I saw anything, but I said a lot of creepy shit. Just from the attitude, the way you speak, the way you act in front of people, dig deep on the Weinstein thing with where I worked. You'll see a strong connection, a very strong connection. Like he lived on the 4th floor of those condominium complexes right next door to where all the events were held. Like they were partners in many different things. Weinstein, that is. That's sleazeball. And it just, it's obviously the norm, In the mob, it's the norm to get your finger cut, right? That's part of that ritual. It's a ritual. It's what it is. You got to get, there's a whole ceremony that would make it a ritual, right? Thank God I wasn't part of it, that ritual, right? Because then there's no coming back from that. There isn't. So this is a sick, gay, pedophile ritual that gets exacerbated and grows and grows and grows until you turn men out. Now they full blown gay and they're full blown. Now they're perpetrating that act on other youngsters, and so forth and so on and so on and so on. What do I know? What do I know? I felt the need to come on and talk to you tonight. That's all. And it worked with, right time, hot topic. And I do want to do hot topic stuff, Unfortunately, it's something terrible like this and something like that bridge in Maryland gets overlooked and innocent people have died, over something that just, collapsed, an accident. And there's people gone, but everything is on this. And so we need to pray for those families too. And pray that they find the comfort they need to get through what they're going through right now. As well as the innocence that was stolen for some of these people. Because there are some innocent people here that were victims, besides the women. A lot of women. It's all out there. All the information's out there. I tried to share the little I've seen from the Weinsteins of the world, the Diddy of the world, the Diddys of the world. But I wanted to share the Damon Dash end because I find it ironic how he got shunned. And I'm real curious because, you're not thinking about it then. It was the furthest thing from my mind. They were setting the narrative for all of us in security, to eventually, he's not welcome here. He's not welcome here. It is, Joe Town Jack. It make you sick to my stomach. I'm just trying to, there's been enough light put on it, but I wanted to share what little I knew or saw from certain people's behavior. I'm not saying it was sexual deviant stuff, but just by the way they carry themselves, the few. What they say, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck. So I wasn't surprised when all of this shit came down with the one guy, the slob, the disgusting, that guy, first, and now this. So I'm not. Yeah, it's disgusting, and you're appalled, and it makes you sick to your stomach. But it's not going to end. Well, you don't think they're going to go to Justin Bieber and want to know how many times and who? Come on. How many times they show pictures of these guys making out and it's Photoshop. No, it's called public shaming. You have to do it. Look, man, I've kept you. If there's anything decent or good in the world you want to discuss, we can. I'm here. We can discuss anything. Lighten it up. I thought this was stuff that should be known, if it wasn't known already. And whatever little I could share about Weinstein, what I thought of him or what I saw in his ways on how he treated people. Yeah. Yeah, Cinnamon. It's, yeah. Yeah, you realize now they were all evil bastards. Every last one of them. And, I don't know. Just I'm glad we had a chance to just unfortunately not a comfortable subject, but kind of was very hot topic. And from the security end of it, I did see these individuals at this particular place, especially Weinstein, very often. I'm telling you, please do your research on Weinstein and that place I worked at, and you'll see how close they truly were. And now I understand why he was there every night. I mean, not every night, or at least every event I worked. You'll understand it. They're everywhere. You're right, Ruby. You're definitely right. Look, we keep it real here. We always say that. I held back on one thing. I told you what I saw. I didn't like it. It disgusted me. I'm not saying his name because I should have no obligation to not say his name. I don't feel like for any reason I shouldn't, but it wasn't. It wasn't. The girl wasn't fighting back. She was young. How young I don't know, but it bothered. She was young enough to where it bothered me. So if it bothered me, I must have saw her being young. If I can remember back, if I had to guess, 15, 16. But what bothered me more is that he was in his 40s and he was this well-known dude that everybody, revered as an actor. And it really pissed me off. It really did. If you guys knew my wife, she would tell you, yeah, he came home that night and told me he was disgusted and wanted to throw him down a flight of stairs. Because everybody... I heard today, look, the biggest names in Hollywood were part of this guy's sex. I can't say the word. You're not supposed to say the word. I was told you can't say this word. The biggest names in Hollywood, like leading men that have been in the biggest movies, The Wolf of Wall Street, that guy. There's so many leading men that played naked basketball, as Ruby said, with this guy, that turned into other things. Had nothing to do with the music industry. And were involved in these crazy shits. Now, I got to tell you, I didn't play basketball growing up, but I played every now and then. And I wasn't great at basketball. That was one sport. I was a good athlete. I've said it, but I'm going to make a point here. But I got to tell you, and my friends would pick me to play on their team just because for athletic ability, not because I was any good. I wasn't. But I could rebound. I'll jump. I'll play hard. We never played naked basketball. Nobody played naked basketball. Nobody. If anybody would have said, let's play naked basketball, everybody would have somebody was getting beat up. I'm serious. I mean, But I guess that's, as we're finding out, as I reflect now, I cannot be surprised by what's going on now because writing was on the wall. There was weird shit. I just thank God I never witnessed anything overboard outside of what I told you I saw with this one particular gentleman. I wasn't a big fan. I'll try to give it to you that way. Been a lot. See, if I told you Pulp Fiction, it could be 1,000 people, So I can't tell you that, right? Remember that movie where there's a bomb gonna go off in New York City? Forget the name. He's running through. It's had like six. There's like 4 different sequels to it, 3 or 4. I'll tell you. His wife made a movie at one time called G.I. Jane. That's all I'll say. All right. And again, I don't have any allegiance to this person, nor do I have proof on how old the girl was that he was kissing. But I can tell you this. I have a daughter. And my daughter at that time I'm just figuring it out. My daughter was born in 89, 99, 18. My daughter was 18 years old, probably in that 2007, 2008, she would have been 19. So if we're talking those years, my daughter would have been 18 or 19. Yes, that's correct, Cinnamon. That's correct. So I'm going based off of what my daughter would have been 18 or 19. This young girl, woman, lady, don't know. 15, maybe. Sickening. Like it was nothing. Broad daylight. Oh, it was nighttime. I'm sorry. It was broad daylight. And so the shit shouldn't surprise me especially or anybody else. Not a crime, I guess, to kiss somebody, but it's a crime when, whatever. I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, thank you for coming in. Yeah, thank you all. Again, I went way too long, but you can't shut me up. Just tell me, shut up, Craig. We had enough. Thank you so much for coming in. I just thought it would be, something we could share hot topic wise and go with the security stuff. I want everybody to have a good night and thank you all for coming in. Tomorrow night, we'll do what we said we're going to do. I'll have another story. And tomorrow night is going to be about my life and my time in the street. And I think I'm going to tell you guys a story about treachery. Because I've been talking about treachery in the past, about how some things work with treachery. So, yeah, Roy, you're right. Jay-Z was getting his ass whipped. But Jay-Z's got to worry about a lot more than getting his ass whipped. Got a lot more to worry about than that. Tonio, thanks for coming in. Let me just say thank you to everybody. Roy, Maddie, Cinnamon Girl, always Bay Watcher. Oh, anything about Biggie. Bay, if you're still here, what I was going to say about Biggie is this. No different than in the life. It's usually somebody close to you that does it. Really go back and look hard at how he disappeared and he gets killed. We're already finding out, it's going to come out shortly, that he put it out on Tupac I gather everybody knows that Biggie had told him that he was leaving Bad Boy and starting his own record label, right? If you don't know that, because if you don't know, now you know, right? Well, now you know Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, and he had told him he was leaving Bad Boy. It was all good. And then Biggie, listen to Gene Deal. He tells the story. He told Puffy, yo, we can't go out there. Biggie ain't right. Why is he riding this way? Why is he solo? Why, whatever. They didn't have him protected right that night because it was all set up. Whatever. Jack, what's up, my man? Good to see you. I'm sorry you caught it at the end, but thank you for popping in. Just going off about this whole mess with this disgusting. I don't even want to say it no more. Yep. So the point is, he was the only guy left standing. His mentor, Andre Harrell, is dead. His ex-wife, Kim Porter, who was writing the documentary, dead. Her husband, who she married, Albie Shaw, knew everything. He survived. He was in a coma for 15 days? He lived. Try to have him killed. And the list goes on. Tupac, he's being implicated in that. We'll see about Biggie, what happens there. We'll see about his bodyguard, why he wanted him dead. Look at his son, the oldest one. I think his name is Justin. He looks nothing like Puffy. Pull up his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf. I forget his last name. Looks just like him. Not conspiracy. Just look. He died. Heavy D. Why do you want him dead? That was one of his first acts. It was his first. Craig Mack. They're all gone. He's the only one standing. Him, Clive Davis, Jay-Z, and all the other Zionists above him. It's a long train. They got the tunnels today, and they'll keep getting more. That's right. Whitney Houston's dead, and Clive Davis is still throwing a party. And who was giving a speech for Whitney Houston? P.Diddy, who really had no dealings with Whitney Houston. But Clive chose Diddy to give a eulogy or a speech about a celebration of Whitney Houston, not knowing she was dead on the floor, not knowing she was dead in the hotel for hours. Come on, man. Just let's do your research. You'll see that there's a lot of crooked shit here. Smells like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's a duck. Yo, guys, love you all. Have a great night. Sorry I got deep with it, but I needed to. And take care, everybody, man. Take care of your family. A lot of crazies out there. I tell you that all the time. Maureen, thank you. Maddie, Cinnamon Girl, Jack the Ripper, thanks for coming in, brother. Joe Town Jack, my man. Michael M. Mormel, good to see you, brother. Osada, thank you for coming in. Osada, I got to get to one of your shows, man. I'll get up. I got to get on. I got to get to one of your shows, brother. I will. Thank you for coming in, pal. Tonio, thank you for coming in. OG Ruby, always OG. I'll run into you up at the BX for sure. Nikki, Scott, all our people, thank you. Anybody new that came in, Sal, Benny, Maddie, Roy, always. Davey T, Baywatcher, TT Rad, thank you for coming in, TTA. Thank you. Means a lot when I see your name. Trust me. Yep, absolutely, Antonio. Sickening. Mr. Puff, imagine. Puff the Magic Dragon. Punk ass. Just have a good night, everybody. Be safe. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. J Tro, thank you for coming in. And, Yeah, that's cool. I got you, bro. Just have a good night, everybody. Be safe. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night for sure. Well, I don't know for sure, but as long as I wake up, you'll see me tomorrow night.